Hello and welcome to the Creative Community Podcast. This is the show where we interview local creatives and creative organisations. I am your host, Claire Beardraz. I am a creative freelancer, creative psychotherapist and spoken word performer. And for today's episode, I'm joined by the wonderful Chase Johnston Lynch. Hello, Chase. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Claire. I'm glad you got the double barrel right, because I don't know why people always just give you one last name. I love it when I have two. It makes it easier to find on Google.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's like, I'm a big fan of double barrel. I think if I ever get married, I'm gonna.
Well, first of all, you got to keep that beard your ass anyway. So,
of course.
There's no name like, hey, yo, Johnny Smith. I'm not going to be Claire Smith, so forget that.
God forbid. No,
yeah, exactly.
No, I could never do that. But yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Today. I know I've been interviewed on your podcast because you also have a podcast.
Yeah, I have the Liverpool Community Podcast.
Yeah.
So it's kind of great that this is the Creative Community Podcast. So we're like twins.
We are twins.
I know, we look alike.
Definitely.
No, we don't. But
what's the difference? Am I Chase?
No.
But yeah, so we've had the pleasure of like working aside each other, and I obviously see you around and things like that. For those who are watching who shockingly may not know, it'd be hard maybe if they didn't know, but maybe you're a new viewer and maybe you've not seen Chase's podcast or Chase's work. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do when it comes to creative?
Well, as it comes to my recent creative, being the creative director here at Big Condo Academy, basically, we have like various different things here, such as Liverpool Online, which is this podcasting network, as well as our creative studios where we do, music recordings and stuff. But we also run classes. So, basically being here for 22 years, coming from New York, it felt like I fell down a well, and they needed a way out, because I was making music videos back then and I needed to stay creative. So the only way to do that was I had to go back to school.
Right.
I got my master's at John Moore's and everything. And then I got my teaching degree and everything. So I've been teaching for over 10 years in film studies, media studies, and everything. And then I needed to kind of keep that going because I wasn't making the same, being the creative filmmaker and stuff. But, I think if you're a creative person, and I'm pretty sure you know that yourself, you feel like a zombie if you're not being creative. It's like, I wouldn't say fiending, I said zombie, because it's like, I gotta be creative. And, and teaching was always that great thing, because if you can't do it, you could teach someone else how to do it, and that keeps those juices rolling. And so that's always been my thing.
Nice. So it sounds like, I guess, Big Condo Academy is like a perfect fit for you, I guess, just based off like your passions. And
yeah, no, definitely. Because I would be slighted, if I didn't mention my partners at Big Condo Academy, because what it is like I got together with Roy Rothschild, who is in charge of the music and production and everything here. And basically, we got together to form this academy and everything. And so I was film and he was music. Right. So it's kind of like audio and visual working together. It was a great synergy and everything. And then so I realized that we could use the support of the technical digital side, because this is digital enhanced media at the end of the day. So I brought in a young lad who I worked with for years named Blake Emery. And he came in, so we were like a perfect triad now. You know what I mean? And so, that's the Illuminati, right? So and everything. So the three of us, we've been together I would say it's been a little bit more than 2 years now, but here now being based at Vauxhall in our studios here, this is what it is. And it's been a really good synergy, and we've been training and supporting various people from mature adults to young people and giving everybody that creative media option that they don't usually get in schools.
Yeah.
Right? Because especially like if you take film studies and media studies, you know, being a teacher of that, especially in FE, it was always kind of like, all right, get them to make a poster or flyer as opposed to making a film. Right? So you got young people that you're aspiring, itching to like get creative. Let me use the camera and do all that stuff. I found that there was a lot of teachers in different places because I was what you call a cover supervisor. So I went around to many different schools. And, you know, so when I came in, you know, I was like, what? Pull that out of the closet, you know, let's make sit in the wheelchair or something in a rolling chair and push them down the hallway. You know what I mean? And I had that kind of energy. And so I've always been like motivating and inspiring in that way. So when when the three of us got together, it was like, it's like, king, you know, coming together. And so it's been really good.
And I think that's a great message as well, is the fact that there's no sort of restrictions or boundaries when it comes to age limit. Quite often what you see when it comes to sort of creative opportunities is always bracketed into like 16 to 25 or, you know, it's almost like what happens after 25, good luck. But what's great about what's being done here is that there isn't that limit. It's never too late to access education, to gain new skills, to get an understanding of creative media and things like that as well.
I mean, I'm glad you put it that way because it's like funding is always dedicated to a particular age group, especially like a younger age group. And I've always found like even bigger funding like Creative England now, which used to be like Northwest Vision and stuff. It was always about new beginners, new filmmakers. And it's like, listen, man, all right, I hear you, but what about those filmmakers who just need support to continue making film? You know, like one of the things that I always found the problem was is like when it comes to funding projects in media, is that like I go to a school and like obviously you got to convince people that they're talented. I don't know if you ever come across this, right? You're talented. I'm trying to tell you. It's like, nah. I'm so used to being told I'm not. And then, so we'll go through the process of making a film, right? And everything. And now it's not until they see the film being in post-production that they go, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I'm a ghost. I'm invisible. I can fly. All these kind of things. Then they get inspired. And then it's like, well, I got to go now. Funding's run out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I found that wherever you go, like life rooms where you work with mature adults who are people even with mental health.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like these are all people who want to be creative in some way, shape, or form. They just need to be inspired, you know, and motivated that they can do.
Yeah.
But, you know, funding is always so small that it's just like, here's a small pocket. And everything. So what do they do afterwards? You know, and so what we do here is like, you know, working with some mature adults is we test run them on podcasting, for example. And, you know, and one or two of them have a show on our network and everything. And, you know, they are fully inspired because they had no clue what they wanted to do when they came to take a class.
Yeah.
You know, I got to take a digital enhanced class. Don't know what that even is.
Yeah.
Because like if they're an older person, you know what I mean? So it's been really interesting watching the glow return to people's eyes, if you get me, to catch lights.
Oh, I really like that idea of that, like watching the return.
But you've seen
like,
it, right? So you understand,
yeah,
like, I mean, because I'm pretty sure you probably like work with people and where it's just getting them to do a performance or something like that, and it's like the thrill that they get when they actually feel the accomplishment of doing that. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder then, sort of, when it comes to some of the projects that you've done with Big Condo Academy, are there any that stand out for you that you've sort of enjoyed to sort of facilitate and be part of as well?
I mean, you know, definitely. It's like because I have a particular type of class that I do, like, because we, you know, have to do, what do you call that? Employability skills, right? And everything. So obviously if people are on the dole or whatever and stuff like that, and, you know, you have to be inspired to go back into work. And people are like, man, I don't want to work at Morrison's or something.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. And so I have a whole session on like other jobs opportunities, because the media field, I would say the creative media field, filmmaking, whether they're making film or TV, has so many jobs that it has also so much money attached to it. You know what I mean? So, like, let's say, for example, like here we're doing this podcast and we have a tech desk and we have one person behind that tech desk. But that tech desk is actually the operation of 5 people in a TV studio. So if you went into a TV studio, you've seen them on TV, the guy goes, oh, cut the camera 1, cut the camera 2. And I don't mean the camera operators. I mean, there's still like about 5 or so people with that tech director there. So those are 5 different jobs. Each job is about $150,000 a year. You're like, get out of here. And all they do is press buttons. My man over there is just doing it. Right? And he's earning $150,000 a year. Not here, but I'm just saying in general. So when you explain that to people, they go, what? Or you give them the inspiration that you could be a locations manager, right, or a location scout, right? Because so many Americans come to Liverpool and want to make movies in our beautiful city, but they have no clue as to where everything is or what people are probably saying sometimes. So they need a local person just to drive around, just to know where the Anglican Cathedral is, or Everton Valley is such a beautiful hill to shoot on. And in that aspect, that's another $75,000 a year job. Just to like drive somebody around and take pictures. So you're like, you're lying. No, I'm not, bro. Those are jobs, and everything. And so I like to inspire people with the opportunity, because last thing I'll say is, you've seen the end credits of any film, right?
Yeah.
So you get up and walk out. Most people do.
Yeah. I don't. I always wait. I always... all right,
good.
I'm a big fan of that.
Good girl, but that's you're looking at about 500 names, 500 jobs. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
all those jobs are high priced because they're $1 million films, right? So they don't even haggle about money. I need 5 people in that apartment, 5 people in that apartment, 5 people in that. So it's like you don't even need a skill set or a resume sometimes. Can you imagine that? So why wouldn't you go into this field? So, like, when you take, our classes and we're talking about that and we're giving you the chance to look it up yourself. We have, like, line pictures over there in Chilwell. So, yeah, people are inspired to, do things and to upskill themselves and everything, as well as learn, I could do that. I could do that. And I don't have to be the one name that I heard, director. You know what I mean? Yeah. I tell my son, don't be a director. And like now he's been training himself to be an editor, and he's really good. He's better than me, actually. So, but in that fashion, though, is that, those are jobs that they pay you for. I mean, can you imagine? It's like you just need to know, and somebody needs to teach you. And it's a shame they don't teach you that in media studies or film studies.
Couldn't agree more. I wish sort of topics like that were more accessible in the education system as well, even now, because it sounds like, I mean, just what you've been describing about like the employability sort of workshops that you do and things like that, the word that I associate with is like expanding the creative horizon. That was what I was thinking of when you were saying that. Man,
do you hear what she just said? Expanding the creative horizon. I love that. I think that'll be our new tagline when we rebrand. No, love but that. You're right, though.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly what you're doing. It's
thank
amazing.
you. No, thank you. That's a really good way of looking at it, because it's really just kind of like looking in directions you haven't looked before. And I think, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to say everybody, because obviously when people go to school to become a lawyer or a doctor, those are very specific job roles.
Of course.
But then there are like about 30%, to more that don't know what they want to do. And then they end up just doing like the job that is easy to get, retail or, something like that. And then it's like, come on, man, can you imagine yourself doing retail forever? And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. But I'm just trying to say is that if you're a creative person, you need to be pushed or inspired to think, where can I use my creativity?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I usually do I call it Man, I had a name for it. I know it's not graveyard, but but I had a particular exercise where I'll say, like, what are your life skills, right? So, I mean, do you like to cook? Yeah, I like to cook. Well, then you can like become like a chef or, go into catering. Do you like shopping for clothes? Oh, I love shopping for clothes. Well, then you could become a wardrobe supervisor or a costumer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I could. What? Do you drive? Yeah, I drive, but I don't, yeah, but you got a car? Yeah. Well, look at that. Automatically, I could pay you $75 to $150 a day just to drive somebody to the airport and back. Do you see what I mean? Never thought about that and stuff. So think about whatever it is that you personally like, and then maybe, cross-reference that to an end credit list. And drawing. I like drawing, or I like art, or I like computers, or I like whatever thing that I never thought would get me anything. It would, and if you went into the creative media.
Yeah. I think that's even useful for me to take on board, to think about that. That idea of cross-referencing. It doesn't have to be, I think it's so ingrained from a young age that you have to pick what you're going to do then and there, and you have to follow it, and it's like, no, you must do this. And it's often, you find that jobs in the creative field are often looked down on. Yeah. Which is, I mean during the whole P word, about having to convince people that creative jobs are viable, are needed, are essential.
Yeah, well, that was such a raise in social media jobs and everything else like that, And I mean, with that being said, it's the fact that like you have to realize that when we're creative, like poet, artist, writing songs, not many people are out there like giving us jobs, a record label, well, they don't even exist. And if you say, oh, I want to be a director, it's like, okay, well, and then your competition for the 5 other directors there over there. So like, what production company going to hire me? So I'm going to make up my own. So we all have a list of production companies that none of us are working, and in that aspect. But that's why you have to be able to diversify. Because if you know that you have a whole list of job opportunities, once you're inside, you're inside.
Of course.
Do you get me?
Yeah, exactly.
Look at it like a gate. Once you're inside the gate, then that's where the jobs are. Yeah. And they're not going to give it to you until you're inside the gate. But you don't need like, here's my resume, because nobody cares. Here's my resume. Shh, I don't want to know who you work for. I don't want to know the competition. I just want to know what you're going to do for me. And if you're the type of person that I want. So it goes back to life skills, being personable, being eager, willing and creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why at the Academy, that's what we do. I mean, we call it like a digital campus because, you have so many different opportunities of whether it's photography or editing or Photoshop or fashion, green screen and filmmaking and music. That's already like about 8 to 10 different opportunities at the Academy here, that you can learn and develop. But what's great is you don't have to just do one thing. You have to like go around. It's like being circular. You know what I mean? Learn everything, because that's your best bet is I am going to do a bit of everything. So that way I'm available to do that one thing when you need it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like, if someone's interested in sort of working with Big Condo Academy, it's almost like when you're leaving that space or staying in contact, you're leaving with being well-rounded in the skills that you've gained, but also like you say, the life skills as well that may have already been there that maybe just weren't seen or acknowledged. Or with the help of people like you, you're able to be like, hey, wait a minute, there's something here.
It's a joke to me, other than a joke to my ex-wife, but it's a joke to me where I say most of my students went off and made more money than me. And then it's like, well, why couldn't you make that money? Well, anyway, somebody's got to be at the door. True. Guiding people through. Hey, yeah, come on in. What I mean? Yeah. But no, it is that inspirational thing that we're back to, because most of those young people, you know, a lot of them, you know, somehow still in touch because of, you know, Google and social media or whatever. But, you know, most of those young people will be like, you know, thanks for not just inspiring me, but, you know, let me know that there was another way, because they were so single focused, you know, watching things and saying, I want to be a director, I want to be a writer, I want to be a singer. And then it's like, well, what other skills can you learn? You know, and then they take on other jobs and they've listened and now they're off working. And I'm like, man, whoa. Is this really the top of the mountain I'm standing on? You know, or is this the bottom of the ground floor? Looking up at you. You know? And either way, it's the satisfaction is knowing that you supported people, really.
Absolutely. Now I have a question about your own personal creative work. And I couldn't not bring it up. The fact that, if you guys didn't know this, Chase used to produce for Wu-Tang. Now that is a drop and a half. Like, yeah. I mean, you know, it's amazing to me because I'm old. It's amazing to me. I've been here 22 years. So before 22 years ago, I used to, you know, work personally with Genius from the Wu-Tang as his producer, his first AD, and his pretty much his shadow, you know, making the jobs. Because, you know, Wu-Tang, you know, not just being phenomenal that they're still famous today, but Genius was one of the few who realized that, you know, as an artist, my money is controlled, you know, by my record label, but due to my fame, people want to like know me, work with me, and whatever. So they would hire me once I put myself out there as a director. Right. So like, you know, you get so many groups calling in like, yeah, man, I want James to write my. So then he realized that, well, I can't do that if I don't have a production company. So I don't have a producer. I don't have a sidekick, that kind of thing. And, you know, that was me. But also my skill set was writing, you know, when I first started in this business. So I used to write treatments, you know, which were pretty much storylines for music videos. Right. And that was a very common thing in the 90s. Was like what we call like narrative videos, you know, when there used to be stories. Yeah. And so I became known for doing that because I'd be going, oh, I'm going to write about vampires. You know what I mean? This is a time travel piece, right? And people go, whoa, I mean, may not want to do this, but I want to know who that guy is who came up with that idea. Or you could get a phone call at 2 a.m. going, yo, dude, you know, they're in the studio and stuff like that. You're in my head, man. I can't believe what you wrote there. And stuff like that, you know? It's like, okay. And I'm not in your head. I just listen to your music, but that's good. And everything. And so I was doing that. And it was very good in that kind of storytelling as an artist. I mean, I wasn't like out in front, do you know what I mean? But I like being a part of the team, you know, above the line in that way. And yeah, so I was doing a lot of that. And it's amazing that like that they're still known. And a lot of artists are, especially from the 90s, you know, they do like tours and stuff like that. You get like Heat Wave at the Empire or something like that. But a great story was like was it like 12 years ago now, maybe, when Genius first came to Liverpool, you know, because obviously Americans don't like traveling. I'm saying obviously because they don't. Okay. Right? Yeah. Americans don't even get passports, most of them, you know what I mean? Because America's so big. Why do I need to go anywhere? That makes sense, yeah.
But they realized, Wu-Tang and stuff like that, especially Genius, they realized that, you know, they had an audience base over here. So, you know, I remember his first show here in Liverpool was at the Cream. It's not called Cream anymore, and stuff like that. I think it went from Cream to Casimir and all that. But it was down like past Parr Street, and so I found out that he was coming and everything. Now I was his sidekick, his running dog, and I'm teaching. I got my students, right, and everything. But I was living and dying off of Wu-Tang, right? So yeah, you're the Wu-Tang guy, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what thing I know until you have to make me prove it. Yeah. So like I'm standing outside the Cream with my students. You know, they got like the carry equipment. They're all outside, big fans and stuff, and I'm just bricking it because I'm like, please don't embarrass me. Please star.
I've been saying all this
because I haven't seen you in 10 years, but I look the same. You look the same. Please, first time you're over here and stuff. So he comes out of his SUV and stuff like that. Walking, doing his hang dog walking as he does. I'm like that. And then he turns and then he's like, oh, you know what I mean? And everything, and they would get a big hug and stuff like that. I was like, oh, thank God. So he let us go backstage and let us take pictures and film his concert that night.
Oh, brilliant.
And it was just amazing. And my son got to meet him the next day and everything for breakfast and stuff. And it was just an amazing thing. And I mean, I don't know why I would have had doubt, but you know how it is. It's just that people are famous and you don't feel famous in this business. Do you know what I mean? Especially like when you're like the behind the scenes guy. I wasn't an actor or you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. But like it's good to be appreciated for what you do and everything like that. So I mean, I always love that story because it's like maybe somebody will say that about me someday. Yeah, man, Chase is coming. What do you remember me? Because so many, it's like so many people like social media. They they think they know who I am, but whatever. I go, who are you again?
Yeah,
I'm that guy.
Yeah, so I know you said that you came to Liverpool 22 years ago.
Yeah.
I wonder then what inspired the move, like to jump. I mean, the distance as well from like.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is one of those questions I said, don't ask me, but still, I'll answer it for you.
Was this a no-go question?
It was, but she didn't listen. Right, so no, I mean, online dating, really. I met my ex online. Thanks. And
I didn't know that's why you moved.
Love doesn't last, but I got a beautiful son out of it. No, it was fantastic, but it's just what it is that, like I said, Americans really don't do the whole passport thing.
Yeah.
So it's like because you can travel so much in America. You know what I mean? And you're thinking that what we're watching on telly, Hugh Grant or Cobblestone Streets, black and white fog films, right? So we have no clue. Right, and I'm saying we because that's true. They always say, others say it to me, you have no clue what England is going to be like because it's not really well represented in films. I mean, you see the landscape of England, but it's not like everything. So especially Liverpool, and I love Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? And it's like Liverpool, I can understand why they twinned it with New York and stuff like that. I mean, even though it's on the shore of the Mersey and stuff like that, and it's very small, very like, everybody. You can't walk down the main streets like Bow Street or something like that without running into somebody. And I like that, coming from places that have more tower blocks than you can imagine and stuff. So, so basically, to be fair, right, I was bored doing what I was doing. I mean, I think there are people who it's kind of like if you look at like Bohemian Rhapsody or something like that. When you are like in the fame game, and this is what people have to worry about because everybody wants to be famous. When you're in the fame game and money and all that other kind of stuff, and everything is about the next big, check and everything, it was like my job was really kind of like writing the treatments, as I said, and getting the next job and everything. And it started to feel like, you know what I mean? I got to do this again, or I got to have to come down from all the excess of what we were doing and everything. And so when I met my ex on the internet, it provided me with the idea that there is another world. This is before we hear about the multiverse, right? And it is truly another world. So in that aspect, it was like the curiosity was enough to cause me to pack my bags, right? And like I had my suitcases, I had 2 big black bin bags, I had my printer under my arm.
No way.
and a silver teacup that I still have, right? And she took a picture of me coming through the airport. I don't have a clue as to where I am. And, it was like from getting to the car where the steering wheel was on the other side, driving down a highway where the words were different, like tire spelled with a Y. And, I got to go to the petrol station. Petrol, what's that? You know what I mean? I didn't know anything. And then I'm in Walton. So everybody's scouts, pure scousers, the ones who, spit when they talk. And like in that aspect, I couldn't understand a word anybody said to me for 3 weeks. Right? I had to acclimate to the language and all that. So it was that thing of like, my dad said I had a 2-week ticket, right? I was taking a big, leap of faith. Yeah. And I said, keep that ticket close, right? And everything. And my computer blew up the first night because of the transformer. You know what I mean? I plugged it in and it blew up. What the hell? Where am I? So I had no fear. I'm trying to convince you. So what caused me to come here was stupidity. What caused me to stay was faith. And I'm still here. Because I love it now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, no, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I mean, everybody's always so enamored by New York. Always ask me, why would you leave? Why'd you come? And why, and stuff. And then, but I look at it as like, you don't know the gifts of what you have here. And stuff. And for me, final thing was, the main gift was waking up every day to something different. And I need that as a creative person. I need to not be stale, like that zombie thing I said before. I need every day has to be different. And this, especially being creative, where you don't know where your next meal's coming from. You don't know where your next job's coming from, your next bit of excitement. And you had to chug to make it. I love that.
I love that too. I apologize for asking the question, but you know what? No, the outcome was I had no idea.
No. What it was is no. It is like I think people too defined by like those simple things, right? And it is a curiosity that everyone has. Of course. You were gonna ask me about my creative process, but
I said maybe.
It's just a question. You know what? I've been asked that question every day for 22 years. I'm still asked that question because I have an American accent. Everybody keeps saying, hey, where you from? You just don't sound like you're from here. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm from the Dingle. No, you're not. That's where the cars nearly crashed.
Right.
But I don't know how I would get rid of this accent in the first place. But
no.
Exactly. And people love it or whatever. But I'm constantly asked why. So it's that thing of like being in the back of a taxi with my son who, is growing from a sprout, to a tree. And then a guy goes, yeah, man, so where you from? Why are you here? And my son be like this. God, that's a question again. Yes. Yeah. That's the question again.
I guess from my perspective, I was just curious as to whether like Liverpool was known as like a creative scene. No. And I in my head, I was like, I wonder if you came here for like creative explorations in a sense.
That's a good question. No, I mean, like the Beatles are a huge influence over the world market, right? So a lot of people know of the Beatles if you're following that music and all that other kind of stuff. But I was working in hip hop, so I didn't, I mean, I may have heard a song or two like yesterday or something like that, but I didn't know the Beatles were from Liverpool. You know what I mean? So like, but living here, I'm like, I could really feel the creative pocket like you're talking about. I could really feel like, because it's not really just the Beatles, because I'm from the South End, right? So I'm LA, so a lot of the tragedy is the lost artists that people don't remember, like Chance, Sugar Dean, Wes Wilkie, all those guys, The Real Thing. All of them came out of LA and they inspired the Beatles. Not only that, but it was just the fact that, where's that music, man? And stuff. I want to know that story. But yeah, so there's so much creative energy in Liverpool. It's like it grows in the cells of the walls and stuff. You know what I mean? And you must see that yourself from when you do open mic nights and everything like that, because there's so many of those running around that people have so much that they're dying to say. You know what I mean? Trying to like eschew that creativity and stuff, and I'm glad I'm part of something like that. You know, like we work with Make It Right Productions. They do a lot of like plays and showcases and stuff like that. You know, doing the P as you called it, we were able to do a lot of online films and stuff, working with local creatives and everything, sparking that. So yeah, I mean, you know, so it's all about that and everything. You know, but I answered that question about the creative process before we go. So, like, the thing about it is, like, the creative process is an interesting thing because I don't know if you've seen Get Back, the Beatles documentary. I was so floored and enamored by that because the creative process of when you're an artist, like let's say as a writer or a filmmaker, I'm a visualist. So I see things, right? But then I also have like Asperger's, right? So makes me see things differently, right? So it's like, right? All that kind of stuff and everything. It's not like a beautiful mind, but you know, it's just like things come to me. And like what I enjoy in the creative process is connecting the dots. So how do I make sense out of all of those images and words, sounds, you know, that are in my head, that are like floating around and I need to get out, you know, the stories that I need to write and tell and the films I need to make out of those stories, you know, and like in one way, I'm kind of like Chinese in a way where I had to write my stories backwards. I had to start at the end and work backwards. You know, some bits, you know, like because I think what I hate most when I watch film is the ending is crap. You know what I mean? And the ending is something that the writer didn't focus on because they were too busy trying to get to the end that they gave up. 50 pages in. 75. When do I end this? At 90? You know, and it's kind of like, you know, you can't do that. You know, you have to me, I think you have to know the third act. You know, you could still start with the first act, but what I'd rather do, like Pulp Fiction, I'd rather like do the first act and then do the third act and then, you know, make the middle connect. You know, like in Pulp Fiction where he shot it out of sequence and stuff. And like, so that's like my process in that aspect. But the main thing about it is visualizing the story. Like how does it look? You know, how does it make me feel? Because hopefully what that's doing is when a person sees it, you know, my goal is to create some type of production value shot that makes it memorable. You feel me? So if you looked at any of my stuff, which is all like on YouTube and stuff, I mean, a lot of people, you know, I wouldn't say I'm like the best filmmaker. I think I put a lot of effort and work into it. What I'm trying to create because I'm looking for that one thing. I'm looking to see if like we can have that one talking point or that spark that you thought was really interesting and creative or something like that. And that's where my focus generally is. So my creative process is a sequentious one. You know, I like to connect the dots of all these images and words, you know, open up the compartment boxes, you know. Last thing, did you ever heard of the stream of consciousness? I like to think the stream of consciousness is a natural stream that rises overhead. And then what I just do is like, as all those ideas are going, I just lift my hand up and grab one.
I like that.
Okay, we're gonna write about this, you know, and everything. So, but yeah, I it's just that I just like that because when it comes down to reading about Einstein or people who were supposed to have had Asperger's and everything, and they turned it into creative power, and that's what I wanted to be able to just say is that I'm proud to use my Asperger's in a creative way. Yeah, to empower the ideas and thoughts that I have. Do you know what I mean? Because only I could see it that way. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I love that my son does the same thing, you know, and in that aspect, you know, and I'm just so proud of him because of how he uses that ability and stuff and everything. And, you know, and I love the story where he was online at school and some kids were trying to bother him and he's like, hey, I got Asperger's. And the guy goes, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But I mean, like, because he took pride in the word, and I try to take pride in my mental health in that way and stuff, and not look at it as a dirty word, you know, like how autism used to be a bad thing, and stuff. And I try to look at it as a proud thing or something to be proud of. You know what I mean? Only a few of us can do it that way.
Yeah,
you know?
I couldn't agree more. I think there's so much value in perspective.
Yeah.
And having that unique perspective to yourself, like you say, you know, there's no one's gonna have the same perspective as me. And that goes the same for you as well, and everyone out there. And I think there is value to that. I think we try so hard often as a society trying to fit in and trying to sort of be one together. And there's something great about togetherness, but there's also something really valid there about being
individuality.
Yeah.
No, totally. I totally get that. You know, it makes a lot of sense. But I think also too, is as long as like we can inspire the next generation into believing in themselves instead of negatively believing that they're not worth it. You know, and everything. And I mean, I guess like Blake would be upset at me if I didn't mention the rebrand. You know, like so the Big Condo Academy is looking to rebrand it to the Liverpool Creative Academy and everything like that, the LCA, and you know, and hopefully, you know, with the new year, you know, coming to pass, you know, and New Year's like starts in September, of course, you know, we're hoping to expand and support more people, you know, and you know, have a bigger operation, you know, where we could bring in more creatives and stuff, you know, and add into the team and everything, you know, because we already have like, you know, our partner, Gemma Rothschild, who runs the fashion company Iconic, you know, so we're already, you know, locked in with the Heritage Fund to do 100 years of fashion starting in September.
Exciting.
So, I mean, you know, look out for that because we're looking to join forces with schools and training like young people, but we're looking at each decade of fashion, which I think is really exciting. You know, so like that's a really huge project that is coming, but more will be coming as well. So
lots of exciting things then.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, I just can't wait for your show to come on.
Oh, me neither. I'm very excited. I literally cannot wait.
I'm in pain not seeing that show because it's like this girl works so hard and everything like that, you know what I mean? But it is an exciting show because I love the way you you know, try to get things out of people and in your communication style. So being one of the new presenters here, you know, on the channel and stuff like that, you know, I really can't wait for people to see the force of nature of your show.
Thank you. And if you're seeing this and maybe it is out and you've not seen the rest of the episodes, you should check it out. But also, we also did, as I mentioned at the start, we also did an episode for Chase's podcast as well, where I was actually being the one interviewed. So we swapped roles.
And I'm pretty sure that's pretty popular, isn't it? Because, I mean, I've seen you share it and stuff like that.
I've been sharing it. I've been tweeting it. I've been sharing it on my story.
That's what I don't do. I don't tweet.
You know, I added you on the thing.
I got you. Yeah, I know. I saw it. Thank you. But I mean, you know, but yeah, no, that's the thing. But I mean, but that's what I'm trying to say is like, you've been out there, you know, like interviewing other various artists and creative people, you know, that Liverpool have to offer, like what we were trying to say, how creative this city is. So,
absolutely.
You know, definitely is something, you know, if she's not going to promote herself, I will promote herself, that you definitely got to be looking out for, you know, the creative community podcasts and stuff. Thanks. So, yeah.
Thanks, Chase. It's been lovely speaking with you, hearing about you, like, and your creative work personally, but also hearing more a bit about Big Condo Academy, the rebranding, some of the projects that have and are happening very soon.
No, thank you for letting me share that, you know, because I mean, like, you know, we have been kind of like, you know, as we were rebranding, you know, slow coming out, but Liverpool Online, for example, is the change, you know, like that this show is on and everything, and so yeah, keep watching, man. You know, there's so many shows to check out.
Definitely. So that's it for today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up because it lets us know if you actually enjoyed it or you're just watching it just because you're watching it. You know, let us know. We need to know. Give us feedback, good or bad. It would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Listen, Chase said yeah. So I've been your host, Claire Beardraz. If you want to keep up to date with me on all the projects, or even maybe as the episodes get released and maybe even more things that will be happening with Big Condo Academy, you can follow me on @ClaireBeardraz on all socials. Chase, do you have any socials you want to shout out?
Yeah, man, like I'm on that Insta thing, as Two Shadows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, what I like most is that, the double barrel. Chase Johnson Lynch, put me in Google. Do something different. Google, because I got like about 18 pages on Google. You know what I mean? Or, YouTube, my Square One Visual Grammar is my film page. So that has all of the film stuff I was like talking about, and everything. And, my hip hop 90s narrative page, which has all my music videos.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that's where it's like hip hop 90s narrative. I mean, write that down. That's kind of complicated. Why would you call it that? I just needed a page where I could just have all the videos like that was, including the ones that I've done here and everything. But it's like, it's just amazing sometimes when you find things on, if it's on Google, you know what I mean? Or YouTube, it's always going to be out there. So, so I'm always searching for other videos and stuff. So, yeah, sorry for that.
And also, of course, make sure you keep up to date with Big Condo Academy on their socials. They have an Instagram as well that you can have a little cheeky look at as well. But massive shout out to the LVP Online for making this all possible. Really appreciate the opportunity and all the resources and support around it. So that's it for today's episode. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel and see all the other episodes and other podcasts and shows that are available. Thank you again, Chase.
Thank you, Claire.
And we will see you very soon.
Peace.